Austin Butler's been proving himself time and time again. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Elvis movie, Bike Riders, and now Caught Stealing is a 2025 American crime thriller comedy film. This film was produced and directed by Darren Aronofsky. Screenplay written by Charlie Huston. Based on a book with the same name. Caught Stealing takes place in 1998, so you get that nostalgic feel for the 90s that we crave ever so much during these current times. Washed up player Hank Thompson, turned alcoholic, is the main character of this movie. So Hank blew his shot at joining the major leagues, not even the major leagues, but going to college. Ended up going to New York. He works at a bar. He's in a little bit of a situationship with Zoe Kravitz's character named Yvonne. And she's kind of like the saving grace of this movie, right? She's the person who kind of keeps him grounded, makes sure he's well put together. And this theme of regret and not being able to move forward is a theme that replays itself throughout the movie time and time again. But what is up with this character? Why is he getting in all this trouble? Because his neighbor Russ is a punk who got mixed up with the Russian mob and a bunch of organized criminals, and essentially is the man who holds all the money. And why does Hank get pulled into all of this? I personally believe in the movie, it's the universe and the writers pushing you to realize that sometimes somewhere where you're at in life isn't the right place you need to be, and sometimes you need to be forcefully removed from that position in life, no matter how painful and fucked up it is. The way they tell the story is that they leave little parts out and they fill you in later, and that's what adds to the comedy of the entire film. So I really appreciated pretty much the conversational piece when it comes around gentrification and how New York had changed from like the slums to more of like a corporate gentrified place. And that was a theme play throughout the movie, and it shows you that this underworld that existed at this time was slowly eviscerating and fading, but at the same time, it was very much present. Let's talk about the themes of regret and the themes of living in the past. Hank in his alcoholic state is very much tied to the San Francisco Giants and very tied to his identity of being a baseball player. That's one of the main reasons why he works at the bar, is because he's got some homies there who are always super deep into like the fandom of being a baseball player. And he just lives his life by this. As you can tell in his apartment, he's got a bunch of alcoholic beverages, and he's always waking up in a state of shock. He has PTSD from this crash from when he was young. You're seeing him be put in these weird, random, violent positions because of the lack of control he has in his own life. Zoe Kravitz is like kind of like the Jiminy Cricket in this story, letting him know that we should go over the characters first. But before we go over the characters, give it a like for that. And make sure to subscribe. Austin Butler as Henry or Hank. Regina King as Detective Elise Roman. Zoe Kravitz as Yvonne. Matt Smith as Russ Binder. Liev Schreiber as Leva Drucker. Vincent D'Onofrio as Shmuley Drucker. Benito Martinez Ocasio as Colorado. Griffin Dunn as Paul. Carol Kane as Bubby. There is a layer of organized crime going on. There's the Russians. There's the detective who has been in New York in that specific neighborhood for a long time trying to get out, who's in debt to the Russians. And there's also the Hasidic brothers. And there's Russ, the dumb drug-dealing punk who's in kind of control of all this money. And Hank gets intermingled in all of this. It's a giant mess. And every single scene that incorporates each different type of character is so unique and so much fun, in my opinion, because it really truly shows like how many different cultures are in New York, the melting pot of what New York is. Not even with just those characters, but even the people you interact with at the bar and the people you interact with at the train. And I feel like this movie does a great job at capturing like that grittier, older New York. This is just my own personal opinion. Hank's character is dealing with some universal karma. He clearly can't let go of the past. He can't let it go. He lets it consume his entire life to the point where it literally forcibly removes people from his life. He ends up running away from the Hasidic brothers, and Zoe Kravitz ends up getting killed because of that. People keep getting hurt, and Russ comes back into the picture later on in the story and realizes that, you know, they leave little things out. People think Russ is screwing them over, and for some reason everybody wants Hank to give them this key that was left in a litter box full of shit. And honestly, Hank's apartment kind of reminds me of my college apartment. Just alcohol everywhere, beers in the fridge, alcohol in the freezer. One of the things I did appreciate about his character very much is how much he was interconnected with his mom. And I thought it was clever that they didn't reveal who the mom was until the end of the movie. And he keeps referencing throughout the movie how he just wants to go home and how he wants to evade all of this. He's literally breaking down and becoming somebody he doesn't want to be. They play with the themes of like, is he a killer or is he not? And there's a moment where he decides that he's not a killer. That part in the movie changes the trajectory of the entire outcome of the movie. That's when he takes control and he realizes that he's in control of the money and he's in control of giving the money to the right people. But nobody can be trusted. When Hank takes control, he pinpoints the criminals against each other. And that's probably the smartest thing he's done the entire movie versus just randomly stumbling and drunk. Random side tangent. Action Bronson is in this movie. That was fun. He's the random guy starting coke at the bar. There's a moment with the Hasidic brothers where it's revealed that Zoe Kravitz was killed by one of them. And this is when he takes destiny into his own hands. He crashes the fucking van into a pole because he realizes the brothers are not buckled up, and he kills the brothers. And this is the moment where his life path changes. He decides that he can't ever go back home, and that's genuinely true. People think that he murdered Russ. The cops think that. They think that he's a criminal. And which in reality, maybe just a little bit, but not too much. This is when he decides to do the most punk thing he's ever done and completely abandon his past and steal Russ's identity. And that's when he goes to Tulum, which was mentioned earlier in the movie by the detective because that was her main life mission, was to get out. He's in Tulum, he's got a mohawk, he's wearing a punk outfit. You can't mess with a man and his fucking cat. I know, I'm a cat dad. You do not fuck with a man's cat. Alright? But you know, him and Bud are watching the baseball game, and that's when the movie ends. He turns it off. I thought that was such a beautiful way to end the movie because it represents and showcases that sometimes you have to strip down your identity and you have to reinvent yourself in order to let go of the past. I think that was the overall arching message of this entire story, is that living in the past doesn't do you any good, and the universe will forcefully and abruptly move you out of your current life path to put you on a different one. So if you like this movie review, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time!